Hello and welcome to The Real Deal, a Real Madrid podcast with me, Jarod Hector. I am joined by Loconte. What's up, my guy?
Yo, good week, this one.
Loconte, I was thinking about something. I wanted to do a show, and hopefully we can at least once a week, you and I get together and we talk about sort of larger, bigger picture things as it relates to Real Madrid. And sort of where we think the discourse is going in the conversation. So not so much getting upset about or happy about specific games, more like big picture. Where do we see things going? What do we like? What don't we like? And as always, again, thank you for everybody for tuning in live right now. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it to your friends, family, whoever. And also, if you just want the audio version of this, we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So you can find us there at The Real Deal. So I was thinking about American sports, Sid, and in particular, American football. And so there's this thing that happens in American football, right? Your training camp in the summertime. And then when the coaches come out to the media, almost to a man, Loconte, they all say this: the defense is ahead of the offense right now. And it is just every coach, and you can see it when you watch a preseason match, whatever, defense just looks better. And it made me think about Real Madrid. And I was like, that's kind of how we look right now. The defense well ahead of the offense. And the reason why
Nico Harrison.
Nico. Shout out to Nico. By the way, Nico, who got friggin' Cooper Flag in the draft and has a pretty good squad right now. So Dallas fans, I don't know why you're so upset. I think you're fine. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was watching Real Madrid and I was thinking, defense. And I think, Loconte, and tell me if you agree with this. The reason why defense always looks better when you have a coach change or looks like it's up to speed faster is because so much of defense, not all of it, but a lot of it is just about effort and giving a shit and wanting to on that end. Whereas on offense, it's about timing, rhythm, patterns, tactics, knowing who, right? It's a lot more of that. Now, defense has that too. Like when you're pressing, you have to know who's going where, but it's about giving a shit collectively. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with it because, as they say, attack wins games, defense wins titles, right? Like that's always been a part. Like I'm gonna become a broken record at this point, but football is a low margin game. If you don't defend well, then it doesn't matter. Like Barcelona scored a shitload of goals, but they allowed one more than Inter, so they were sent home. So it's just like one of these where I'm not saying that you have to be like ultra defensive, you shouldn't attack, but defense, for the most part, in every sport, just like you said, NFL, even basketball, right? OKC, the champions, like they're way more known for defense than offense. It's just the trend and direction of the sports, also due to the load, if we really want to be honest, because I am of the idea that defense is easier than offense if you're focusing more on defense. So it's a more efficient way of becoming a champion rather than being one of the most, you're not going to be one of the most entertaining and such, but generally speaking, I believe that defense is like the unlocking key to success, which is what Madrid as a club are for the most part.
Yeah, it's funny that you said attack wins games and defense wins titles. The American version of that is offense sells tickets, defense wins championships, right? Like it's the same idea, right? And look, who doesn't like offense? That's the best part of any game with the ball. Listen, scoring means you get more money in your contracts, you get girls or boys if that's your flavor, right? It's the thing that is popular that makes you like, woo! That's what everyone loves. And when you are a fan and you're watching with your eyeballs, that's what you gravitate towards because that excites the synapses in your brain. Defense, for most people, it doesn't do the same thing, right? Because it's a little bit harder to see. It's like, wait, what are we doing here? What's this thing? And I think that one of the biggest issues I said about Madrid last year was when the freedom on offense and interplay is not working, because everything's helter-skelter, when the counterattack comes, this team has nothing to fall back on except for Thibaut be amazing and have 75 arms and bail us out, which he does because he's arguably the best goalkeeper in the world. But maybe we don't want him to do that all the time.
Exactly. Like last season, I mean, just to prove your point, last season we had the Golden Boot winner, literally more goals than any player in European football, but didn't win the title. And nobody can sit there and say that Madrid deserved to win the title. because, as you said, too many chances allowed, no real ideas how to orientate against the ball. It is just a process of the moment when system falls apart as a whole, the defense is the one that suffers the most, like the defenders. Look at our injuries for the most part, like the ACLs, the long-term injuries, are mostly coming to the defensive players who have to overcompensate for the better put lack of structure, really.
Yes. The unsettled situation that we find ourselves in, right? That was Madrid's issue last year, right? Loconte, we were in unsettled situations 99% of the time. By unsettled, I mean, oh shit, it's 6-on-5, it's 5-on-4, it's 4-on-2. Yeah. Like we were cut because someone lost the ball up top, they didn't run back. Oh shit, now we're in trouble, right? That's
just
what happened.
Spectrum, right? Pedri's goal in Copa del Rey is just a normal turnover by Jude. Like in no circumstances that should be a goal. But for some reason, Pedri just get a long range shot, which is clearly wide open because, well, nobody's there to cover the space because nobody knows where to be. And that's something that you genuinely have to work on as a team, as a unit, as a whole. That's when the coaches come in and they have to kind of create the solutions for these problems. I know that I took a minor problem, but that was a moment where we got punished. If you didn't see that thing like 1,000 times repeatedly over last season, then I don't know what to say. It's just that that's one of the key moments where we really paid for a mistake like that, which you normally shouldn't pay. Like no team really pays, at least top team, but we did.
Yeah, look, you guys already did the post-game show, so I'm not going to belabor this point, but in the last match that we played against Osasuna on Tuesday, that was a match, Loconte, that last year we likely draw or lose because
like 89th.
Correct, because you turn the ball over,
no energy,
and then it's just we don't know what to do.
Defense, really, like nothing is there to defend, and we concede. We can't hold the ball because we can circulate it to tire them out, and therefore we just concede because they have more energy than us because we are expelling more energy usually for the most part. And what made like last game, don't want to go too many into that. More impressive is the fact of what we talked. No preseason and the team was capable of holding off. So that's a big part.
Correct. And I think that's the biggest piece of this too. So going back to that analogy of NFL coaches saying the defense ahead of the offense, right? As preseason goes on, you start to see the offense begin to catch up. And I think the way the season's structured right now for Madrid, it's kind of similar in that way, right? And Danny Carvalho, I believe, even said it, like where they're looking at it as these 3 games we have before the September international break is like our preseason.
That's what Carvalho said.
You can argue if that's disrespectful to the opponents, but whatever. I mean, I get his point.
We could argue that, but on the other hand, it's the reality because we asked La Liga for postpone the game, so
and they said no.
We did as such. So it's like they kind of made their bet, to be honest, with that disrespect. Even if we say it's disrespectful, it's the reality of it.
And I don't think it's disrespectful.
There you go.
Right. And so we have Real Oviedo next, and then Mallorca before the international break, the last one. And Mallorca's at home, I believe. So I think that is an interesting way to look at it and then head into a break. And then we'll talk about a little bit later about that break because I think there's going to be some advantages for Madrid with that international break coming up. All right. So I think for Xabi, would you agree with this, Loconte, that he has a clear ideas about what he wants to do in the build-up phase, but he knows and he knew that the first thing I have to fix is this rest defense and this out-of-possession situation is catastrophic. We can't have this shit. So that's number one. And I think so far, it wasn't perfect, but so far, we're trending in the right direction.
I mean, sample of the games is small. Even heading back to the Club World Cup to now, sample of the games is very small. There isn't enough window for the coach to be able to figure out everything, but there are like clear structural things being changed. For example, last game, right? Or even in Club World Cup, to be honest, you just didn't see this team be able to press against the ball that well. By the way, pressing, because I see this misconception a lot. Pressing is not always on a final third and the goalkeeper. It can be done on the middle of the pitch after you have trapped them. You just up the intensity and win the ball back. It doesn't always have to be, oh, we have to push and run on their final third. It's about picking the moments, picking the time. This team is not always going to press on that demonic way, if you really want to say it. Like we had the Xabi and Vini video, right? We showed up where Xabi is screaming, Vini, defensa, basically come back to defend, which we saw. Right? Vini did defend. Somehow that's been spun into a narrative, which is like very normal coaching thing. Like the coach is just reminding his player, yo, bro, Ancelotti's not here anymore. Come back and defend. And it's just like Vini responded to that. You saw a lot of defensive sequences there. And yeah, we saw a little bit of more pragmatic team, I want to say, which Alonso has shown tendencies of being, especially when players are out. There are some major injuries / suspensions, even with this Leverkusen. Right? The reason why they called them Neverkusen is because they would never lose. They would never give up. And that's kind of like his theme as a coach. And we're starting to see it. We're starting to see that translate into the team.
Yeah, that first season where where they went undefeated, won the league title, and won the DFK Copa, I believe, and then went to the final of the Europa League. I remember watching matches and being like, "Damn, this squad just doesn't stop. They just keep going." And we're seeing glimpses, not fully. We're seeing glimpses of it. So I have this question for you. As we get better with our rest defense and pressuring the ball at certain points when we need to, and we get turnovers and win the ball back, will that then, because of the repetition of doing that, will that eventually help our offense and help people understand the patterns of where teammates like to be?
I mean, naturally, right? Because some people, let's take PSG as example, since they are currently the European champions. Lucho didn't get there this January and just made this team click. It took him about a year and a half to get everything right, because a lot of coaches go between trial and error. And now they seemingly are back to reverting to the natural level. You're seeing it on the performances. Do I agree with them complaining about the rest? Yes, but apparently we're not allowed to do that, even though they play less games. But I took them as a major example due to the fact that coaches need time. They need time to figure out what players like, what tendencies do players have, because again, Leverkusen and Madrid are two different teams. You can see that there are patterns that are being followed, but you can also see the adjustment.
Right.
That adjustment is being made to cater towards what the players enjoy doing on a pitch. I mean, obviously, I would like my team to have 2 Toni Krooses normally, so no team can touch the ball, right? But it's very unfair to actually ask them to do that. Or would I like to bring a peak Marcelo to hold the left wing by himself and just utilize the physicality of this midfield to cover up for him? Yes, I would. But those are just not possible. So as a coach, you see like Alvaro Carreras, how many roles he's being used, Dean Huijsen, Trent, all of these players. I'm just talking about the players that came. All of these players are being utilized differently time to time, because you see the coach tinkering. And he even said, when it comes to the offensive scheme, right? He said, we still haven't trained for low blocks, because there was so much that needed to be done, to the point where low blocks just had to be on the end of our priorities, lowest on the pecking order. And guess what? It goes to show how bad it was, right? Because you know that in La Liga you're going to face low blocks. Alonso knew that. It's just that there was so much that is wrong with this team, to the point where, okay, I'm going to have to revert a little bit into a Carlo thing, where let these guys figure out offensively, because I have an Mbappe, Vini, Valverde who can strike a shot. Dean was taking shots from like 50 meters and actually getting them on target. Just figure out a way to score the goal. So yeah, to your point, as they put more reps in, as they improve more defensively, they're going to naturally improve more offensively. They're going to be more comfortable. They're going to win the ball back. They're going to be more accustomed and used, and therefore they're going to get more opportunities in front of goal. Just the first game of La Liga, literally, as we played.
I mean, we have the room for improvement, guys, is like, I can't even measure it. There's so much. And to your point, Loconte, Xabi had a list probably. Okay, here are the 75 million things wrong with this team. He had 3 weeks. That's not enough time to fix all those, right? Maybe you see the first thing he addressed, which isn't, as I said, not even perfect yet. The first thing is, guys, you have to give a shit out of possession. That's number one. You're not even doing that. So we've got that together a little bit, and it's getting better. We'll start to see things improve. You mentioned you'd love to have 2 Tony Cruzes so that no one ever touches the ball. Manna from heaven. Who wouldn't, right? One of the interesting things that outside people, say, and I don't know what this is about football or if it's Madrid hate or whatever it is, but this idea of, but Madrid still needs a Tony Cruz replacement. They don't have a Cruz replacement. They don't have a Modric replacement. They need more creativity in the midfield. And I'm just like, guys, Tony Cruzes don't grow on trees. Please tell me who is it? Who's Tony Cruz that we can get?
Memory, there's been one.
Please tell me where we can find him. We'll happily go get him, but he's not out there. But Loconte, when we talk about creativity in the midfield, and listen, I have to do this. This is ESPN's Craig Burley, who, was like, Madrid's problem is they don't have a Pedri. Barcelona gets played low blocks all the time, and Pedri can just ping passes all day. I go, no,
not true, by the way.
That's also not true. So, and by the way, pinging passes, that's one way to be creative, but there are other ways to be creative in the midfield.
I mean, they do that, right? And then we get a stat, which is like players with most passes to the final third.
Right. And Alvaro Carreras is number 1.
7 Madrid players out of the top 10. And he's just like, okay, he's just like, so what are we lacking now? Because normally we control that game from every single area. You could say there are rough methods to breaking that low block down. But if the methods were a little bit better, like ball was moved wider a bit better.
And a little quicker.
Again, lack of reps. I'll keep saying this. There is a clear lack of reps. There was intent. I think there was some profile clashing, which is going to turn around, is going to change with time, but also just the players getting the reps together. How many times did Carreras make a run which Vini didn't even notice?
Yes.
Because he's not used to it.
Correct. He's used to having Ferland Mendy or fucking
like
or
Mendy who's going to
France.
stay behind Courtois, or Fran Garcia who's going to be like already at the corner flag, right? He's just not used to a guy that, this guy actually points and makes the perfect run at perfect time. So maybe I should look. Right, yeah. We pointed out on the last episode where there was a counter, and Vini had to get his head up about 5 times because he didn't know where the teammates were. That's lack of. I put that to lack of reps. I put that to the lack of. Okay, these guys just are not automated yet on the way how they're going to move. Look, there is a big discussion between the way how teams work, like some are too robotic, which people like to call the Arteta Pep teams, and some are way too fluid, like the ones of Ancelotti, right? Alonso kind of seems even now as kind of like the blend of the two. Yes. You see that players are getting enough freedom to move, like Mbappe, for example. He was everywhere on the field. And then you see a little bit more of like, okay, when this pass is triggered, this move is going to be triggered. Valverde pushes highest, looks like a number 9 at times, or the same. Brahim, I don't know what Brahim was doing, to be honest, but it's still Brahim.
Right.
All I'm talking is they need reps, and they don't have enough time for reps. No preseason, not enough games, not enough even training sessions, let alone games. So, yeah.
I love your point on that. I see that with Vinny, right? And I talked about this before. You can see when a player is at their best, when they are at their peak level and their form is on, there's no thinking. They know what to do. It's like second nature, and everything. They're moving super fast, but in their brain and mind, the game is moving very slow for them. That's why they're able to do that. Vinny is the opposite of that right now. He is thinking about everything, and you see it's causing him to hesitate. He's like, oh wait, shit, there goes Carreras. Should I pass to him now? Oh wait, but I don't want to dribble past. He's thinking, and that's when you are changing.
Is too deep. I can't move forward.
Exactly,
it's just a lot of things.
It's a lot of things, and oftentimes you have paralysis by analysis, right? Too many things flooding your brain at once, and it's like, oh shit, now I'm stuck. What do I do, right? And so I think once the squad, to your point, more reps, we get better with that. I'm with you. Look, this idea that we need a Pedri, I'm like, look, we got Jude Bellingham. We don't need Pedri. We're fine.
I wouldn't mind a Pedri, but do I think a Pedri is a must? No.
Right. No.
I just think a must is for this team to get the reps together and
I
keep
agree.
building the cohesion. Like, that's my must.
And I also think that, guys, this is Arda Güler's most extended time at the club level starting games. Now, right now, from the Club World Cup to the start of the season, is like, aside from 2 years ago when we were won the league, this is, so he is going to have to get reps to understand, okay, here's where I make this move, here's where I do that. And you can see he's learning on the job too. We have many players learning on the job. Don't forget what we talked about. Tchouameni is changing his role with this team. Yes, he's a holding midfielder, but Xabi Alonso wants him to be, and here's a question I have for you, Loconte. Can he be that tempo controller that everyone thinks that we need? And again, it may not look the way that Toni Kroos tempo control looks, but can he tempo control a game in his way?
I mean, me and Sarbroni touched upon that when we had the Camavinga episode, right? Like, Tchouameni was brought in for his ability to win the ball back, of course, because that's kind of their main strength. But his play on the ball, like World Cup 2022, he was one of the most progressive players out there. And it speaks volumes of his quality. Do I think that sometimes from time to time his profile can be a little bit of redundancy on the team? For example, on a game like Osasuna. I can make the case that he shouldn't be starting that. I know that there was no other option, by the way, but if I had Camavinga available, I would have gone with Camavinga on that specific game. But in terms of a week in and out, can he pass the ball, make the right move, progress it? Yes. But I think that it's been taken away from him a little bit, and he's starting to relearn taking risks. He's starting to get his brain to know that, hey, now I can make this pass after 2 years of being told, nope, you can't play the ball between the lines because we don't have a player between the lines. You have to consistently shift diagonally. So now, okay, give him time too. I mean, he gives his uses outside of that, but in terms of coaching and him in a tandem, because I don't think he's a Kroos where he can just mask coaching issues. Like, that's just not going to happen. But I think he's good enough to take upon a role like that for as long as you pair him with a more vertical threat, which would be like an Arda, Camavinga, whoever you're going to go. He needs that pairing. I'm not going to deny that. But he's good enough to do it, to hold the team together, to literally be the holding midfielder in every sense, not just like defensively, but in every sense.
No, you already know I think he could be the best DM in the world at his full potential. So I agree with you.
Really at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think when fully healthy, so that's Camavinga, that includes Jude and all the rest of our midfielders, do you think that what, again, media people say about this squad is true, in that Madrid lacks technical quality in the midfield?
No.
I
like the issue with technical quality is that people reduce technical quality to, can this player spin on the same place 100 times, right? Like, but how much that spinning is actually helping? Like, Jude is one of the highest efficient dribblers in the world. I'm sorry that the guy isn't 5-foot Spanish midfielder, but he can do that. And we have seen him do that. Oh, guess what? Best midfielder on a pitch against Spain. All of these guys that can do this on a Euro final. Best midfielder on a pitch. Rodri, the Ballon d'Or winner, got out after 45 minutes because, well, guys, yes, I've tracked this. Rodri and Jude dueled themselves 5 times that game. All 5 were won by Jude. He dribbled past him twice, got him on a yellow card, and then he suddenly got injured. So Zubimendi had to come back. No, he was injured. No issues coming back with Manchester City, but he was injured for the rest of 45 minutes. But regardless of that, saying that players like Camavinga, Valverde, Tchouameni, Arda, Ceballos even don't have technical quality is just disrespectful because they put that in such a small vacuum of
I agree.
You have to be able to do a certain thing or else you're not technical.
They want you to look like Pedri and Gavi.
That.
That's what they want. If you don't look like Pedri or Gavi, you're not technically. I'm like that's not like what. Like, come on.
It's just funny because I always argue Jude is just as technical as Pedri, yet he's better than him in every other aspect of the sport, really. Correct. So even if you're going to say, okay, Pedri might be a better deep line playmaker, maybe if you really want to go that route. Right. We haven't seen Jude be attempted at that.
Correct.
And not because Jude can do it, but because he's so important elsewhere to the point where these coaches are willing to give that up because they go like, okay, look, I don't want to lose this box crashing. I don't want to lose this between the lines asset. So they try to work around it. For example, we've seen Huijsen, Militao, whatever, pushing in midfield for Madrid to try and make up for that. Numerical superiority is what the coaches care about in every area, defensively, offensively. Yeah. In terms of technique, a technique will allow you to do that. And technical players like... It feels it's very stereotypical, and it's just sad because they're just taken on that notion of, okay, these guys are physical first. And that's why even on my list before, I had their physical capacities listed as last because that's the stereotype that these guys get put into. Maybe you could argue that there is a bit of nuance lacking with the passing. That doesn't necessarily mean that the whole technical thing is gone out of the window. It's just that the passing is slightly weaker than it would naturally be, which maybe I would agree or disagree with it because I want to see them in an actual system with reps in before making the judgment. But outside of that, really, I think that we don't have any technical issues at all.
I think it's lazy, right? It's lazy analysis, right? It is all it is. Like, oh, Jude's a physical freak. Yes, and he's also technically sound. Like, you can be two things at the same time, right? You can be a physical monster and also super technical. That creates the greatest football. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo, hello, like a physical freak and also elite technically, right? Like that's how you're able to be the greatest player.
LeBron James. Right? What was LeBron James? And what is he? Like 41? This still physical specimen and one of the best creators of all time, really, on an NBA court. I know that I'm taking an extreme example here, but in football, from what I'm seeing, ESPN football-wise would have gone like, oh, LeBron James is like a physical specimen, while taking away like every other thing that he's doing on the court because he's able to bully, well, people that are taller or heavier than him physically.
Right.
And this is my problem, right? Like this is what you said. It's lazy analysis. It's easy to say this guy lacks technique because he's big. And that's where everything is happening. Like if you ask one guy, what are the deficiencies, right? Like give me a nuanced answer to where the deficiencies are coming. And are they going to be able to give you that answer?
Right.
Because this is the real question. I don't think they will.
I agree. Yeah, they just don't. It's also part and parcel of the content game. And so Madrid fans, if you're watching stuff on ESPN, you have to know that, right? Part of it is they're going to constantly compare Madrid to Barcelona just because one, it's easy, and two, for all the obvious reasons, right? And then everyone's still in love with that. Oh, even though they don't really do that anymore, like tiki-taka, blah, blah, and all that shit, right? Like it's still in everybody's consciousness, right? So that's how they talk about that team. And it will constantly be, that's what they do. And Madrid just bombs the ball up the corner and they just do this because their guys are physically whatever. And they, right? As opposed to breaking down. And I think now under Xabi Alonso, it'll be harder and harder to do that with this team because you're going to see a team that's going to be much better when showing their technical prowess as time goes on. And now what are they going to say? And I'm like, oh, well, now they have to be like, those guys are legit. And that's what I hope I see from those guys. You mentioned Cruz. One of the things that was great about Cruz, Loconte, was he would invite the press, right? Because to get the defense to get themselves out of shape a little bit and then ping and go the other way. As this crew gets better, so not just an individual, but as this crew gets better, do you think they will and should invite the press?
I mean, that's kind of seems to be the goal, right? Because you see that sometimes they slow it down on purpose, like players like Dean.
Mhm.
I'm talking here more of like technically sound, like especially Trent. You're seeing that with Trent a lot. Trent is being
Mhm.
doubled down on the press a lot and is getting out of it. They wait. Like not everybody will have the cruise step, cruise ability to switch the play because,
Right.
as we said, there was only one cruise. Like
Mhm.
Alonso, our coach right now, used to be like incredible player. He
Mhm.
wasn't Tony Cruz. I'm
Right.
just gonna have to be honest. He just
Correct.
was not Tony Cruz. You could say that he was better maybe in some areas, but Tony Cruz level of baiting, inviting the press, and then getting the team out of it, just no. So having that expectation of cruise level, I don't think it's fair to put on
Mhm.
anybody.
Mhm.
But I do think they're going to go more of like, well, let's take this example, the Zerbi route. He's
Mhm.
Brighton. He's Brighton used to invite other teams, playing it slowly, goalkeeper, defender, defender, defender. When that press is triggered, the ball is played either over the top or there's a quick vertical ball to the
Mhm.
receiver between the lines and they move from there. Do I think they're going to go there? Yes, because Alonso seems to love making artificial transitions.
Mhm.
So they are going to develop to that. I also believe that Alonso doesn't trust the team enough to be able to do that,
Yeah, not yet.
to
Mhm.
hold them that deep for time being.
Mhm.
So for now, this is what we have.
Yeah.
But I think they elevate and they go to that level by like December, January, when we get
Mhm.
like a rougher, better example of where the team is,
Yeah.
where the sample has grown.
And I think one of the things that fans need to keep in mind also, Loconte, is that small sample size, Alonso and the coaching staff are getting an idea of what are all the things that these guys can do, right? Everyone's ranting and rightfully so. This is not a bad thing. We all love Dean Huijsen, but he's still looking to see, okay, what else can Dean do, right? Or what can't he do, right? And then to your point, by January, February, okay, now I know what just about everyone can do. Now I know where I need to position people, right? And where you can
Yes.
exploit and take advantage of those things. And guys, I don't know what to tell you. That takes time, right? Like we're not going to know by next game or by Christmas or, you know.
Even profiling, right? Brahim and Trent definitely was a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm,
Two of the same guys, slow strides, like
mm-hmm,
guys that you kind of want to do the same thing on a
mm-hmm,
pitch.
mm-hmm,
So is that a mistake by Alonso? Not really, because he wants to see it play out first. Like,
mm-hmm,
do I think he believed that it was like, do I think that he went with that fully knowing that, okay, there might be some clashes? Yes, because he seemed that way and
mm-hmm,
he made the necessary changes when
mm-hmm.
it became required.
Yep.
But he needs to try things. We're going to see
Yeah.
different lineups, different variations. We're probably going to play a low block again this Sunday. We're probably going to see a different iteration of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Not that 79% possession in the first half type of team. They're probably going to try to invite more, even if they can. Even if they can do that, it's still probably going to be boring, to be honest. We don't know
Yeah.
because a long shot on the 8th minute that goes in opens up the whole game for you and you score 5, 6, 7. But on paper, it's just what we're expecting.
Yeah.
Would I expect the same thing to happen 6 months from now? No. Like
Right.
by then, I would like the coach to have it figured out.
Mm-hmm,
As you said, where Dean is weak,
mm-hmm,
what more can he do,
mm-hmm,
what less responsibility should he get so we can
mm-hmm,
maximize the other responsibility.
mm-hmm.
And that goes for like what, 25 players on the team?
The
It's
whole
not one
squad.
or two. It's 25.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he realizes that isolating Vini like this doesn't seem the best idea of using his skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But now, how am I gonna make all of these 10 other players be comfortable while Vini is not isolated?
Correct.
It's too much work to
Mm-hmm.
happen to change in a day.
Yeah.
This is where my stance is.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. We talked about Camavinga earlier when we were discussing the midfield, and I saw these awesome stats about him, which is why I remain so high on him. So he's the only one midfielder in the top 5 European leagues ranks in the 90th percentile for both possessions won and progressive carries. That would be Eduardo Camavinga. He's in the 90th percentile for possessions won, 91st for progressive carries, 91st for percentile for forward passes completed, 85th percentile for forward pass completion, 78th percentile for duels won. No top 7 league player has more sliding tackles per 90 last season, 1.55. Camavinga is a demon, an absolute demon on the pitch. The issue, which we said a million times, is just we haven't been able to have a nice run of consistency where he doesn't get injured and then it goes away. That's what we need to see. But when he's there, so you mentioned in a game against a low block, maybe like a guy like Camavinga, because correct me if I'm wrong, Loconte, is that where the creativity comes from? Who needs pinging passes when he can just dribble by everybody because you can't take the ball from him?
You know, like, for example, like one press of trigger and he beats 2 players up and then suddenly there is a lot more space. Just think of the goal that we scored, right? Dean clears the ball gets out. Brahim, by the way, I was praying to God that he doesn't take an extra touch. And he passes it to Mbappe and we win the penalty. As simple as that, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have a player that can carry the ball as well as Camavinga can, then you are just getting into a whole new spectrum. Because as we said, profiles, right? Mm-hmm. Camavinga, you know, there are lots of things happening here. Like, we had a full episode on him. Is there too many positions? Is there too much to think of it? Does he do too much with his body on top of it? Like, as you said, the slide tackles. Like, his slide tackles aren't very normal, right? It's not that he's just sliding. You can see that like a spider, he gets the foot like somehow in between players to get the ball out. And it's just, are all of these muscle strains being caused by his play style, at least against the ball? Can we utilize that physicality in a better way? In a way where he doesn't have to be a spider. He can just go in front of the attacker and be like, nah, this ball is mine. And that's it. You know, like without overcomplicating the situation. For example, think of Camavinga in the last game, right? Let's be real here. Like, just think of him.
Yeah.
Like, I know that Osasuna had 2 shots. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they would have had 1 if he played.
Correct. Yeah.
Because of his play style, not because the other players didn't do a good job defensively or anything, but because of the way how he plays, it's very disruptive for other teams. You have to really get him out of that zone. And if you have a coach that's giving players more positional awareness, or you have a team that's sitting so deep, so heavily reliant on second balls, then yeah, Camavinga is just gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's just a load, as you said. How much load is there going to be on his body?
So I was thinking about this. If Camavinga is available and healthy for 85% of our matches this season, and not only that, Xabi Alonso is deploying him in the best possible ways to utilize all his skill sets, does that change the ceiling of this team?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, 100%. Because when we spoke about Camavinga, right? Like, we even spoke privately. There are 2 fears with him. First of all, is him not really becoming the player that we expected to go. And the second one is him being sold. I don't want to play against that.
Right.
I just don't, like, I don't want to be against a player like that. Like, I think that the second one is even bigger issue than the first one, to be honest. I would rather have a Camavinga that plays 60 games but is on my team than knowing that there's a chance that I play against him down the line. Doesn't matter if it's a Champions League game, like, that's the quality that we're talking about. He can always be nurtured. He's so young. It's just the fact that he made the debut at 16 years old. And it feels that he's been around for a lifetime. Also, by the way, that can have something to do with injuries, right?
Yes.
16 breaking through. I know that now it's becoming more of the norm. When Camavinga did it, wasn't really. You weren't seeing a lot of 16 years olds on a pitch, especially after the guy got number 10 on his jersey, given what Rene expected him to do. So yeah, Camavinga is just, You can't say one player is like the line between becoming the best team in the world and not, right?
But we're not saying he's not. Yeah.
Camavinga just gives you that higher chance of becoming that team.
I agree.
This is how I see it.
I agree 100%. To me, if he is that version, then I say we have as good a shot as anybody winning the Champions League, right? If he is that version of himself, like that's how good we are. I think we win the league anyway, but we then become that much more difficult to beat in the Champions League because of a player like that. Now, mind you, all that being said about Camavinga, because of the injuries and everything else, no doubt his confidence and mentality is going to be affected a little bit. So it's going to take him time as well to ramp up. So even if he is healthy, we probably won't see the best version of him until same time we see the team's best version, right? January, February, sometime around then.
Probably, yeah.
Assuming
one training session.
Correct. Assuming he can train, play uninterrupted without injury, which who the hell knows what that's going to be. One of the things about the squad, and we talked about how Xabi wanted to fix the defense first. And I think to a lot of Madrid fans, they saw a lot of still left-sided heavy attack going on, right? With Carreras, who, by the way, you guys talked about him, I love. Like, just seeing him on the ball so much, I was like, I love this guy. He's just great. Like, and I know it's because we had fucking Mendy and Fran before that, so it's skewing it's like when you go from someone who can't to just like competence, it looks like,
I don't think it's queuing. Like, you know that we went through the Benfica tape, right? Mm-hmm. And you could tell immediately that, okay, there is even more to him than what you saw at Benfica. You see a player that's more than capable defensively, mm-hmm. but you see a player that's very technically sound. A player, as we said before, can even slot as a left center back in a back three without a problem because he's so comfortable doing so many things. Mm-hmm. And Normally, yes, we're starved of a left back, but I also think it's due to the fact that he's that damn good. He is. It comes to a certain point where we have this tendency of underrating our players, right?
Yeah, we do. You're right.
In a world, because that catches on, like we win the Champions League, and first the Ballon d'Or goes to Benzema, and then our next player, if I'm not wrong, is Vinicius at 7th. And he's just like, so this team that beat every single big team out there has the best player in the world and the 7th best player in the world, and he's just underneath after that. It's a syndrome that we have tendencies of facing. Like I said, I'm not exaggerating. I said this on Twitter, not even on the show. Dean Huijsen is one of the best center backs in the world. That's clear.
Yes, already. He's already that. Yep.
Like, it's not about him playing for Madrid. It's about what he can do on the pitch. I'm not going to say he's the best, but if you have a guy that's likely to reign supreme, like be Virgil van Dijk of this generation, this
is the question I have for you, right? Okay, he may not be the best right now, but if you're asking me, I had to start a team today, and I had to pick from the best center backs in the world, I'm taking him over Saliba, Gabriel, Van Dijk, all of them. Why? Because he's 20 and he's already up at that level, which means we think he can be even better when he's at his prime.
And even if you ask me to make the perfect lineup from every player, I'm just putting him and Van Dijk, and I'm just calling it a day because Van Dijk is great with the ball, don't get me wrong, but I would like more of like a leader. And I would have Huijsen to be more adventurous, dictate more with the ball, and do X, Y, and Z. And I think you have the best pairing in the world of football. That's because the profiles mash so well with one another. So Dean is that special. He's not just, he's a Madrid player. Yeah. And you know that I used to be one of the guys that went like, I'm not very impressed by this guy, early.
Yeah.
And then I went back on the tape because, to be honest, watching Bournemouth is fun because I love Iraola ball. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this with a lot of joy. And I'm seeing him doing this, doing that. And I'm like, okay, you guys are right.
You're like,
you guys are right. You guys are just right. I was wrong on this.
But that's the thing, Loconte, right? You have to watch the film, right? You can't just go off like, or watch a YouTube mixtape. You got to be like, all right, let me go watch his last 10 matches and see.
We used to have a comment. Remember when people on this channel tend to think that I had a Rodrigo agenda and that I wanted him sold? That was before we kicked the ball, by the way. I said Rodrigo does not fit the Alonso prototype of player. Maybe Alonso can make it work. Again, to this, I stand by that. But by watching Leverkusen film, I just struggle to see where he fits. And I made the point is the physical deficiencies that he has. Nothing to do with technical. I mean, I know that there are bigger issues with him, but for me, what struck out the most was just how different the wingers and the players under Alonso were compared to what Rodrigo is. Rodrigo wants to be more on the inside, more of a carrier. Alonso doesn't like that, doesn't ever use that. Maybe he might go to that at one point, but what we had from the film available, that just wasn't going to happen. So watching film is just very important. Teams do that to prepare week in and out. They literally have a film team to do the scouting. If the coach, let's say there are 2 days apart from a game to a game, which has happened before, right? The coach can sit there and watch like 7 hours of film and then draft up the whole plan. He has a team that does it for him, gives him the plan, tells him, okay, from the film we saw this. He'll go, they will highlight those things. Well, I'm speaking here from the experience on football a little bit. He will get that film, that tape, those moments, what they deemed as crucial. He'll watch them. He'll notice a few different things and go like, okay, we penetrate this way against this team. So, that's why, like, for example, you see a breakthrough player at 16, 17 years old, then just start to regress. He's not really regressing. It's just that the film on that player is more and more. So teams are getting more accustomed. Film matters more than anything else. You watch the film, you line up the data, you mesh those things together, and then you get a product. And that's what coaches have to do on daily basis, by the way. So,
and then the players have to execute, right? You can have they have to do the thing. If they don't do it, well, your great plan is out the window because they're not doing what is being asked. So we saw Carreras and Vinny on the left side, and to your point, they just need reps. I think that will be a very beautiful left side happening. On the right side, you mentioned Brahim, and I thought he and Trent it just didn't work.
Just don't play him and Trent, and you're good.
Right. I mean, right. But I wonder, so does that mean that in order for him to be unlocked, it's got to be Trent and Mastantuono on the right together?
Yeah. Like currently that's the ideal, but I think once Jude is back, you saw Mbappe going off the right a lot. His best actions maybe were coming off the right. So once Jude is back, probably you'll see a lot more Trent and Mbappe. And Valverde pushing a bit higher with Tchouameni screening for them. I think you'll see that a lot. You'll see a more aggressive right center back, which is why I really want another right center back that's aggressive to be signed. But you'll get, like, my prediction would be that you'll get more of like Trent by himself. When I say Trent by himself, I don't mean lonely on a wonderland, but I mean that he's not going to have a player in a very close proximity like Brahim was at all times, because Trent doesn't want that. Trent wants your Salah, your Mbappe, a player that can read the play well, connect with him, like a Valverde or Jordan Anderson. By the way, I'm not even saying that those players are fully similar, but what I'm saying is that players that will combine with him and understand where he wants to go. Trent needs to be an on-ball leader. When you have a player like Brahim, he just can't. You saw Franco, right? He came into the game, immediately was coming on the inside between the lines because he was opening the side for the fullback to enter. It's as simple as that. Some players, sorry to say, but a player at Brahim's age needs to understand that. But at this point, you get to a certain level where some things are just very hard to be wired in your brain. I've said that about Asensio in the past. Some players just never get over that hurdle. And you have like a more natural player that has taken more responsibility on his team, like Franco Macetuano with River Plate, because at 18 years old, he already has reps with the first team. So therefore, he comes just a little bit more adult, a little bit more grown, even though his age doesn't show it. So until Jude is back, I expect Franco to be like Trent's partner in crime, if we really want to say that, of the right.
Yeah, and I think, and if you, between Carreras and Vidi on the left and Franco and Trent on the right, that could be some, we could see fireworks first. Again,
Yes.
not right away. It's going to take time for everybody to get cohesive, but this could be the kind of balance that we're looking for. All right, Loconte, as we wrap, I was starting to think about, we started the show about how it's Madrid's treating this like the preseason, right? 3 games, and then we have that break, the September international break. Now, of course, many of our players will have international responsibilities and will be away, but a lot of our players won't. And I do wonder who is going to get to benefit from those 2 weeks of staying in Madrid, right? And training with Xabi and linking up and being able to sort of connect and get themselves together. We already know Carlo's not calling Vinny up for this one.
Neither Militao, by the way,
right?
Which is a huge favor.
He has a red card already, so he wouldn't play the first match anyway. And Carlo's like, well, I'm not going to call you up for one match, so why don't I get some rest? Thank you, Carlo, for doing us a favor. So he's staying. I mean, look, I don't know where this player fits in the depth chart, but the reality is he will be staying as well, is Alaba. Carreras does not play for Spain.
Is Alaba staying?
I think so. I don't think he's getting called up.
I'm not sure because Austria, he's kind of like the guy there. It doesn't really matter.
We'll see.
I mean, for Alaba, it would be good because it gives him reps. Gives him time to play. Actually get a feel for the football. I would actually like. International break is this, like with Arda last year. I wanted him to go and play for Turkey because I wanted him to actually start to feel the game again.
Yes.
This is how I feel for some of the players. For the others, like, I would love if Mbappe doesn't go. If we get that Mbappe and Vini on the training ground for 2 weeks.
Oh my God, that would be
without really a lot of external pressure.
That would be heaven. That would be heaven.
But he will, right? Realistically. So if I had to pick a top 3 player that's going to benefit, 1, Vini, clearly needs it. 2 is going to be Endrick. He won't go even if he's fit.
Correct.
3, Camavinga won't go even if he's fit. Like, Deschamps can be a real cunt and call him up, but you're still going to play a Rabiot for the love of God. So why even call him up? So I would hope that at least he does us that favor, goes like, okay, Camavinga hasn't played in like 6 months.
Yep.
Just let him sit there. I'd be like, you know what? Camavinga hasn't played for like 6 months. Why? What if we just don't let him play for the next 2 games so we don't make him eligible to go with the national team? Like, that's also another option. Players that have had the least reps, let it be with the team.
I agree.
Or they haven't played. Players that haven't really played would be good for them to go with the national team. Alaba, right? Give me 10 minutes a game sometimes to close the games out.
Just to give him some reps.
Dean Huijsen injury, right? Because normally 1-for-1, Alaba should be his most suitable replacement.
It should be.
Maybe Rudiger, Nagelsmann does us a favor, leaves Rudiger home for once.
That'd be nice.
Tries different players. Like leave Rudiger at home. Militao apparently is staying too. That would be good. Alaba can go, get some reps. Carvajal hopefully stays. Don't want anything to happen to that guy, but their other option is Mingueza, so that's highly unlikely because we already played Carvajal. I'm not even knocking Mingueza out, by the way. I think he's been great. I just think that there are levels, and Carvajal is that next level of player.
Yeah.
So international break, judging is very hard. Sometimes it can be very important. Sometimes it gets the players out of this pressurized environment of Madrid and allows them to at least breathe a little bit more. But most of the times, depends on your results. Like last season, I was celebrating international breaks because we were so shit to the point where I went like, Ancelotti, you have 2 weeks to study film. For the love of God, come up with something. But now with Alonso, it's like, I actually want to see how the team develops with this guy. So it's not really all that good,
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see.
Hurtful, like too many international breaks. Why do we have one in September for 2 weeks? Why do we have one in October for 2 weeks? And why the hell do we need another one late November as fixtures are ramping up? Like
it is. Look, this is why I'm looking forward to it for Vinny is the rest and the work with Alonso and not having to travel to a second hemisphere. I worry about Fede, of course. Thankfully, Jude will not get called up. Yay. He gets to stay back as well, right? For once, that's just good. Because once they're back from international break, folks, oh, by the way, guess what starts the week? Champions League, group stage, or a league phase starts that week. So we're
first week, by the way.
Right. We're going to be back to 2 games a week, right? And so, listen, the fact that Xavi wants to rotate is going to be so important because, my God, these guys are going to need it. They're gonna need some rest. He's gonna have to be able to play other people.
Turkey, definitely.
Oh, Arda's definitely going. Arda's going for sure.
The thing is that too many play, like when you're a top team, right? There's not a Madrid only thing, but when you're a top team, you're gonna see 80 to 90% on average of your players leaving for international duty. We see some cases like players sometimes get rest, but for example, when I think of November, right? November is majority of the big teams, big international teams, like your France, your Spain, they're going to play friendlies, right? What's the need to play a Carvajal, Mbappe? Like,
I don't get it.
What are you really going to do? Jude, because guess what? Jude is going to be like one of the toughest guys with the position. He's going to come back probably like, let's say mid-October. Let's just be like a little bit more lenient with the timeline. Let's say he comes back mid-October. Alonso is trying to slowly integrate him. Tuchel just goes like, nah, you're coming.
Yeah, you're playing full 90s, 2 full 90s. Yeah, it's like,
guess what? You're playing 90 minutes on this because I need reps for the World Cup. And it's just like, bro, we already see so many unprepared teams on international football anyways. We don't need pointless friendlies, or at bare minimum, make a protocol which says, well, guess what? On 3 international breaks in a row, same player can't be called. At least give them one off. Make a protocol where you stop coaches from calling the same players. Give the players the younger ones.
Yeah.
Like this is also something. Like young players never seem to even be getting chances nowadays because even friendlies are being taken by the same 11s. It's just that, instead of 90 minutes, he played 82.
Yeah, no, listen. My hope is that Madrid, as best as they're able to, utilize that 2-week break to get the people who can stay rest and the people who are coming off injury to get themselves reps and work themselves back up.
Watch Gonzalo Garcia be called, by the way. Just watch.
He probably will be. He probably will be.
Yeah, because Oyarzabal, Morata. It's not like the best possible choices. Like, I don't think Joselu is even playing football at this point, who used to get called. So, are you really going to test out the guy that we're testing out? The guy that we're trying to see what we can do with him. Are you really going to do that? And it's just, as a club, unfortunately, you don't have the power to stop it.
All right.
From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, NBA teams are actually able to stop their players from international duty contractually, because they have that, we're paying their wages.
Well, except, here's the little trick of that. The NBA calendar goes from July 1st, I'm sorry, from October, whatever.
Let's say October to April, right?
Right. Or June 30th is when it ends. So because all those competitions happen in the summertime, they can go because technically they're not being paid by the team. They're off of team salaries by June 30th. Now,
let's say that
they can tell the player, I don't want you
to organize a tournament. Let's just say that. An NBA team, from what I heard, has the power to go like,
correct.
We pay this guy.
Correct. They'll say no.
Football teams don't have that power.
No.
Because if you want to declare a player unfit, well, the international team is going to send their medical staff to make sure that you're not lying. So, look, of course you want to represent your national team. Of course,
I get it.
Right?
I get it.
But I don't think Mbappe cares that much to play Latvia in a friendly after he scored like 50-something goals for them. The
dude's already won a World Cup and scored a hat trick in a final with other. Like, I think he has bigger goals in mind than friendlies in the middle of October and November.
Like, he already knows what you're going to do. Like, give a chance to, I don't know, a young player that's coming.
Yeah, let Due and those guys go play up there,
International break sometimes can be good. Like I said last year, I was praying for it to come just so maybe it gives Ancelotti a bit of time to rethink. And it can be bad in times like this. It's not just about our enjoyment of watching it. It's also about the coaches breaking up the rhythm. It's all in one. So normally, I'm not looking forward to this one. It's not that it's taking football away, because actually this time it's quite important. It's World Cup qualifier, so you can get some good games out of there. But it's more about, okay, you're going to break the rhythm now. Again, like 3 games into it, and we're a team without a preseason. So can we have some peace? At least if we had some preseason, if La Liga did us a favor, they just went like, you know what? we're gonna send Barca in Miami, and we're gonna postpone you guys' game. You know, like Barcelona, we're
La
taking
Liga will
away
never
your away game.
La Liga will never do
Yeah,
any
but
favors for us. So,
if they did that to us, at the very least, we could have squeezed one more preseason game in,
I agree.
and not have our captain go like, well, our next 3 games are practically preseason games because we haven't had one. So yeah, it's a whole lot of mess, to be honest. Club World Cup, as much as I enjoyed it, gonna be honest, it ruined everything. I mean, gotta be honest.
It did, because it made them play later, a longer season than they wanted to. It cut the off season short, made them start the second in this season way too early. Look, we're gonna be sorting out the mess of this for a while, and we're gonna see some disjointed play again with this international break. So the players who do stay, yay for them, to get some much needed rest, recovery work. But the guys who are going to be away, we're going to see some disjointed stuff happening still. But the big thing we want to preach, guys, is patience. This team will get better. We are already starting to see the signs, but be critical. And we are critical where there are areas to be critical of. And we will be, but we've had one match officially of this season to go by. So nothing to lose our minds over yet.
Not fair. It's just not fair.
Not fair. But thank you to those of you who tuned in live. Please remember, like, subscribe, comment, share. We will definitely take your comments under advisement. If you want to listen to this again later, or listen to it for the whole thing later, just the audio version, we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We are at Real Deal Pods on all social media platforms. And until next time, take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.